What's the most commonly known chemical formula? The answer is H2O. That stands for 2 molecules of hydrogen and 1 molecule of oxygen. And that's what makes up water. Now, water molecules are very interesting. They're electrically unbalanced. They kind of act like magnets. And we call this effect hydrogen bonding. What happens is the hydrogen molecules in the water tend to stick to one another. And if we want to make bubbles, we have to break up this hydrogen bonding. So what do? We come up with a chemical formula, a bubble formula. And it's composed of 1 gallon of water, which I've got in this milk jug here, to which I add 1 cup of dishwashing liquid, Joy or Dawn, and then 1 tablespoonful of the cosmetic supplement glycerin. You know the stuff women use on their face for a moisturizer? Well, we mix this all together and we've got a soap mixture. And I'm going to demonstrate the soap mixture here. And we're going to start out by putting some soap mixture on this overhead projector. Just put a little bit. And then we'll turn the overhead projector on. And we're going to take a drinking straw. And we're going to make some bubbles. Now, bubbles have some natural enemies. And the enemies are heat, strong wind, and froth, or suds. So if you're making bubbles, you don't want to have any froth or suds. You should do it probably indoors on a day when it's not windy. The more humid the day, the better. Now let's see what kind of bubble we can make here. Now, the film of the bubble is actually a wall of water sandwiched between 2 very thin films of soap. And you can see the color is starting to bleed off of the bubble. The bubble wall is becoming thinner and thinner because gravity is pulling the soap film down around this way. And as the soap film gets thinner on the top, the colors are going to change. Now let's see if we can add to this bubble. Some of my bubble mix is sliding off the top here. See if we can put a bubble inside a bubble. Here we've got several bubbles inside. Now this bubble will last a long time. It'll last until the humidity within the wall disappears, or the heat from the overhead projector becomes too long and it kind of cooks out of there, or somebody blows on it like this. Oh, a strong bubble. Now, let's try something else with bubbles. You can manufacture simple bubble wands by taking a coat hanger and bending it with a pair of pliers. We're not going to do that because we've got our bubble wands already manufactured over here. So we'll add some soap mixture to this Pyrex pie plate. You see what's happening now? I'm getting froth on the top of the water, and that's going to hinder the bubbles. Let's see how much success we have. Now there's hot lights here in the studio. There's no breeze, but there are hot lights, and that might keep us from making bubbles. Here you can see we've got a thin soap film on the end of the wand, and we'll move it along like that. And our bubble did not last very long. Let's try blowing on it. Now watch me try to form a bubble. You notice the bubble forms, but never completely. And that's because I'm not cutting off its tail. Well, it just made a liar out of me. Watch, I'm going to pull the wand across and then turn it, and I cut off the tail, and we get a bubble. If we don't, we may or we may not get a bubble. Certainly we'll get a longer bubble. But when we cut off the tail by slightly twisting the wand, you can see that we get a bubble forming. And that's what we want to do.